a good Erev Shabbos. As Talmidim of the Eibishter, students always trying to learn lessons, especially, with the Daf decide to have to live with the times. So we're always seeking out to find out what lesson we need to learn, and there's always many lessons to learn. But often the way how we can know what the most important lesson is by actually going and looking at, so to speak, the things that Hashem himself seems to be showing us the most important. And therefore, when you look at the Parsha, or Parshiyos in the case I'm going to discuss, you see almost as if Hashem has a certain big hook. He's got certain things in the Torah which are so remarkable and stand out to be so unusual that therefore they make you realize that obviously this is a lesson which is extremely important. And this big hook in our situation kind of really spans across many parashas. We began with Truma to Tzava, which discussed the idea of the Mishkan and discussed the idea of the building Mishkan and Hashem telling Moshe about the Mishkan and the Pikudei Kahuna. Then we had Parshas Kisisa, which interrupts and largely speaks about the Chet HaEgel. And then we come back to the YOEC Pikudei. We continue with the Mishkan, and we go and we mention how Moshe tells the Yidden, and they actually go and they basically make the Mishkan, and they're tallying up all the numbers and everything, and how they make the Mishkan. And there's two questions here, but the obvious main big question is that we know the Torah is extremely careful about not going and even mentioning an extra word. Meanwhile, the Mishkan goes and recounts the entire thing all over again, how Moshe tells the Yidden did it. Surely the Torah could have said it much more briefly. The Torah could have gone and just briefly summed up in a few psukim what they did, and they did that way. What is with this incredible repetition? We're talking about hundreds of psukim, 100 or even more psukim, which seem to be redundant and extra. And this is a big hook, if you want to say. Hashem seems to really be trying to grab our attention, and therefore the message must be a very important message. A second question here is why in between, right in the middle, we go and we sandwich in between the Chet HaEgel. We know factually the Chet HaEgel actually happened before the entire beginning of the Mishkan, the building Mishkan. The Mishkan was the kapara for the Chet HaEgel. So why is the Chet HaEgel brought here right in the middle? So the Rebbe explains that while on the outside, externally, you read the psukim, there seems to be, YOEC Pikudei seems to be mirroring what it is in Truma and Tesava, and it's virtually the same. People which Lein can tell you there's a lot of, the psukim are very, very similar. But that is only on the outside. But in the soul of it, in the nefesh of it, it's a vastly different thing. It's a vastly different Mishkan. In a similar way we've got a similar question in Parshas Nosai, when you have the Nesiim bringing the Karbonos, and we have 12 times, we repeat once after again and again and again the Karbonos, and on the outside it's identical. But really, at the heart of it, it's a completely different thing, because every single Nasi comes with his own soul and his own spirit and his own energy, right? And while he might be doing the same mitzvah on the outside, on the inside is an entirely different energy. So, too, in our situation over here, the Mishkan that is in Truma and Tetzava is an entirely different Mishkan than the Mishkan in YOEC Pikudei. And the explanation is as follows. The Mishkan in Truma and Tetzava is the Mishkan which Hashem tells Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu, who went up on Har Sinai for 40 days, and he's almost like a malach, and he's a tzaddik of the highest level, a nasi, and Hashem discussed with him the Mishkan. And in that place, talking about this ideal Mishkan, this pure and pristine Mishkan. Then you've got the Mishkan which the Yidden came and built. The Mishkan which the Yidden built, which is YOEC Pikudei, built down in this world. Yidden with flaws, Yidden who make mistakes, Yidden who have a lot of setbacks and challenges, and Yidden who, even when they're doing the right thing, their mind is plagued with thoughts driven by their own ego, to try to mix their own ego in and try to basically make it beneficial for themselves, sometimes even to the point of ulterior motives. And these are entirely different Mishkan. There's this pure Mishkan, and there's this Mishkan down here in this world. And that's why what we divide in between is we write in the Eibishter brings in between the Torah, Parshas Kisisa, which discusses the Chet HaEgel, because that's the division. When we're moving from this pure, pristine Mishkan of Moshe to the Mishkan, to the Satar down here, the lower Mishkan that we build in this world, then what's dividing it is the Chet HaEgel, because that is what shows on our weakness and frailty as human beings, and how we I'm really let's just try to bring it out really practical. When we go and we try to go and build a Mishkan for Hashem in this world, in our lives, we go and we decide we want to become better people, we make good decisions, we make achlotas, and we go and we decide we start building. Very shortly afterwards, very likely being humans in this world, and you know, for most of us, the ceiling being a Beinani, and we have a lot of machshavas zaros and challenges, and we often even fall. In that kind of space, we can feel like it's not a good Mishkan. It's not the best Mishkan we're building. It's a Mishkan which is flawed. It's a very human Mishkan. But what we need to remember is that ultimately, what the Eibishter wants from us is He wants us to go and build a Mishkan down here. YOEC Pikudei is the bottom line. We want to be building a Mishkan in this world. The Kavanah, the Dir B'tachtonim in this world, not a pure and holy and elevated, you know, a Mishkan which is completely menutak and removed from this world, but rather a Mishkan in this world. Yet at the same time, we need to begin with a Mishkan on Moshe, because while on the one hand we need to be practical and realize that we're building a Mishkan in this world, and we're building a Mishkan in a place where we're lacking truths and a lot of falsehoods and a lot of issues, we need to be at the same time realize that we need to be motivated by emes, by truth, and therefore we need to connect to Moshe. We need to connect to Moshe Rabbeinu's Mishkan, and we have to remember and completely and constantly be connected with the truth. While during the day we may go out into the world, and when we're out in the world making a Mishkan, we have to build Mishkan in dark places, and there's a lot of imperfections. We need to have that time in the morning when we connect with the emes, we learn Chassidus, we learn Teiras Moshe, we learn about the truth, the way things are, that really less asar upon minay, and the Eibishter is everything. And yes, the Kabbalah we build the Mishkan in this world, but we're driven by the Mishkan that Moshe Rabbeinu was told by Hashem in this pure and holy place. So may we do this, B'ez Hashem, and bring it down into this world, and be Zoich to Mashiach take from the yad.